The Audi A6 e-tron is the newest entry into the large luxury sedan market, and as a bonus for many, it is also available as a practical wagon. The Polestar 4 on the other hand is an SUV, right? So why are we comparing these two cars head to head? Well, it may be marketed as an SUV, but in reality, it is much closer to the Audi A6 e-tron than any SUV I know of. So that's why I thought this would be a great comparison, and at the end of the video, I'll tell you which one I'd choose. On September 15th, we are doing a giveaway to celebrate 50,000 subscribers here on the channel. In collaboration with Zaptec and them partnering up with Polestar as Polestar's recommended home charger, we are giving away 2 Zaptec GO home chargers. To enter, simply subscribe to this channel and comment down below, "I want a Zaptec GO home charger." Thanks Zaptec for sponsoring this video. I saw the Audi A6 e-tron concept in person last year at the IAA in Munich, and I absolutely loved it. I think a lot of the elegance and style of that was lost in translation, making the production version. It wears Audi's new corporate face, which I do like, but I think it's just a little bit too tall and fat for my liking. If they made it a little bit longer and a little bit lower, I think it would have looked much better and closer to the concept. But I haven't seen it in person yet, and in the right spec, it may actually turn out to look very good indeed. The Polestar 4 is actually even taller and shorter, and according to Polestar, it is a coupe SUV. But when you look at it, it honestly just looks like a sedan. And when you look at the rear deck lid area, it opens pretty much like a sedan. And when you sit in it, it feels like a sedan. So if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, well, you get the idea. Another controversial aspect of its design is the lack of a rear window, which I guess looks okay, but is very weird when driving it. Despite all of this and the fact that it actually is fatter and shorter and taller than the A6 e-tron, I actually think it works and harmonizes better. I think it looks great, especially in person. Looking at the exterior dimensions, on the surface, these two cars actually seem very different, where that Audi A6 e-tron is 9 centimeters longer than the Polestar 4. But when it comes to the width, the Polestar 4 is actually 9 centimeters wider. And also when it comes to the height, the Polestar 4 is quite a bit taller, but it is closer to the Mercedes EQE and BMW i5 Touring than it is to the Audi A6 e-tron. So there you have that. Wheelbase is pretty much the same. Also, the Polestar 4 has more trunk capacity and even total cargo capacity. When compared to the Avant version of the A6 e-tron, the Polestar 4 is still bigger. Audi are known for making high quality interiors with nice materials, and where Audi have excelled in recent years compared to almost every automaker is in interior ergonomics. Even with the shift to the new MMI panorama infotainment system in the A6 e-tron with more touch buttons than ever, the A6 e-tron is still a masterclass in this area. The quality, on the other hand, is not what it used to be. Granted, I haven't sat in the new A6 e-tron, but it basically has the same interior as the new Q6 e-tron, which I have driven and tested quite a bit here on the channel. So in that regard, I am disappointed. The Polestar 4, on the other hand, has an impressive interior when it comes to quality. You'll be hard-pressed to find any cheap materials anywhere in the cabin. It truly feels like a class above compared to the Audi. But in 2024, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Because despite having a superior interior in this comparison, the Polestar 4 has gone the Tesla route when it comes to ergonomics. Do you want to adjust your mirrors? That's buried in a sub-menu. Do you want to adjust the steering wheel? That's buried in a sub-menu. Do you want to adjust the sensitivity on the auto wipers? Well, that's buried in a sub-menu too. Do you want to turn off lane keep assist? Yeah, it's buried in a sub-menu. At launch, there are 3 versions available for the Audi A6 e-tron Sportback, and there are currently 2 versions of the Polestar 4 on sale. These models don't exactly line up perfectly, but they're actually very close when you look at the entry-level version of both and also the highest performance versions. When we look at the entry-level versions, they both have rear-wheel drive, similar performance, though that Audi is actually a little bit quicker and has a higher top speed. But where the biggest difference is in the charging speed, because that Audi A6 e-tron is on a new 800 volt architecture with a peak charging speed of 270 kilowatts and will do 10 to 80% in 21 minutes compared to the Polestar 4's 31 minutes. When we look at the highest performance versions of both the S6 e-tron Sportback and the Polestar 4 long-range dual motor, they're again closely matched. Similar horsepower, almost identical 0 to 100 kilometers an hour times, but again, that Audi has a higher top speed, which may only be relevant for people who live in Germany or travel a lot on the continent. I think it is important in a performance version, but that may not be important for everybody. Again, charging speeds are different, and also that Audi edges out with a more efficient body shape, giving it actually almost 100 kilometers more range. So I think it is very interesting to see where these two models are similar and different. We can also see that third model of the A6 e-tron, that rear-wheel drive version with the big battery pack, has a WLTP rated range of 751 kilometers, and in that regard, the Polestar 4 doesn't have a version that can compare. And also, there's going to be an A6 e-tron Quattro, which is going to slot in between that high-performance rear-wheel drive version and also the S6 model. So with that Quattro model coming to market later this year, and also there being an Avant version available for almost all models in the A6 e-tron lineup, there's a lot more choice and versatility if you go for an A6 compared to that Polestar 4. But where that Polestar 4 is so competitive, and the reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place, is pricing. Because when you look at the entry-level version of both of these models, that Polestar 4 with similar specs, yes, it has slower charging, has a much lower starting price. And we know that with the Audi Q6 e-tron and Q8 e-tron and other Audi models, when you start stacking up the options, they can become very expensive. And when we look at the top performance versions of both, again, discrepancy in that top speed and also the charging speed, the Polestar 4 is a lot cheaper. I mean, it is massively underpriced compared to that Audi S6 e-tron, and that's why I think it may appeal to a lot of people. Are people realistically going to crush up these two vehicles? I don't know, maybe this is a dumb video, maybe this is a dumb comparison, maybe anybody looking at the new Audi A6 e-tron won't even consider a Polestar. But I think I've shown in this video that these two cars are very closely matched on most aspects. So I think if you're looking at an A6 e-tron, you should consider the Polestar 4. At least take a look at it, and vice versa. But if you want the most range, you want the fastest charging, you want the newest tech, you want the highest top speed, that Audi is really hard to beat, but you're going to have to pay for it. Yes, you have more choices when it comes to models, you have more choices when it comes to equipment, but Audi are going to take a hefty premium for most of their options. So I think if you have a limited budget, that Polestar, especially that entry-level version, is a really good deal. You can get out of the door with a long-range single motor below the starting price of that Audi A6. But if you want the most range, the most performance, I think an S6 e-tron Sportback with that great charging speed is a force to be reckoned with if you're going to do a lot of long traveling. I haven't driven the new A6 e-tron yet. I don't think anybody has. But I've driven its cousin, the Q6 e-tron, quite extensively, and both cars are built on the same PPE platform. They are closely related. The Q6 is basically the SUV version of this A6, just a little bit shorter. And I was impressed by that vehicle in both the Quattro and the SQ6 version. It is a very accomplished vehicle, especially dynamically. I've driven the Polestar 4, long-range single motor and long-range dual motor with the performance pack, and again, a very impressive vehicle. but I haven't driven these cars on the same road, so it's going to be very hard to compare. So I can't give my verdict about which is the best to drive, which is the most comfortable, the most quiet, before I have all of these cars on Norwegian roads. But I think they're going to be very, very comparable. So at the end of the day, it really depends on your budget. It depends on what you're looking for. If I had a limited budget, that Polestar 4 is a car that's hard to ignore. But if I had all the money in the world and I wanted the most performance, I wanted the most range, wanted the fastest charging, wanted air suspension, that awesome augmented reality head-up display that Audi comes with, yeah, I go for an S6 Sportback. I think that would be my choice, or maybe the Avant. So guys, let me know which car you would choose down below. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.